Yu Menglong's Baijiahao account was suddenly scrubbed, replaced by nothing but a chilling string of random code. It begs the question, who is actually holding his phone and his digital identity right now? At the exact same time, the father of the late Qiao Renliang, who passed away 9 years ago, was rushed to the hospital after reportedly eating dead crabs. Think about it. Could a veteran chief engineer, a man who spent half his life at sea, truly be ignorant of the lethal dangers of eating dead shellfish? Meanwhile, the long hidden life of Xin Qi is finally being stripped back, revealing a glamorous transformation that feels far too scripted. When capital can buy awards and power can literally erase a person's name, the stories we thought were over are actually just beginning. Is this all just a coincidence? Or is it a warning? Today, we're connecting the dots, one by one, to find the truth. Hey guys, Sean here. Thanks for tuning in and sticking with me as we continue to follow the Yu Menglong case. A few things that seemed like minor details at first have completely changed the way people are looking at this case. The closer you look, the more you realize there are parts of the story being intentionally left unsaid. And from here, we're moving into much deeper territory. Because you never know how deep this hole goes.
睽睽之下，与朦胧不擦，换了位置，全网炸锅了。
The buzz around Yu Menglong's bizarre passing isn't dying down. If anything, it's only getting stranger and a lot more unsettling. Just a few days ago, netizens noticed that Yu Menglong's Xiaohongshu account was suddenly locked down. Comments were disabled and DMs were blocked, as if someone was trying to completely gag his fanbase. Right on the heels of that, things took an even weirder turn. His Baijiahao account, his official presence on Baidu, was sabotaged. His actual name, Yu Menglong, vanished, replaced by a long string of garbled, nonsensical code. Think about it, if the person is already gone, their phone and accounts must be in the hands of someone else. These perpetrators are holding the victim's phone, manipulating everything at will, as if they're flaunting their power to anyone who still cares about the truth. In this circle, they are capable of erasing a person's very name, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. At the exact moment Yu Menglong's account turned into random code, the family of another star who passed away 9 years ago, Qiao Renliang, was hit by a sudden crisis of their own.
睽睽之下，与朦胧不擦，换了位置，全网炸锅了。
Recently, Qiao Renliang's name has surged to the top of the trending charts once again. The reason? His father was suddenly rushed to the hospital under highly suspicious circumstances. Food poisoning from eating dead crabs. Let's break this down. For the past few years, Qiao Renliang's parents, Gao Kaiping and Qiao Laoye, have been making a living through cooking videos, building a loyal following of over 9 million subscribers. But on December 10th, a photo began circulating online showing Qiao Laoye lying in a hospital bed looking incredibly frail and weak. According to his own account, he felt it would be a waste to throw away crabs that had been sitting in his house for 3 days. He reportedly ate 10 of them in one sitting, 8 of which were already dead. Shortly after, he began suffering from a fever and bouts of vomiting. His fever initially broke, but his condition quickly took a turn for the worse, forcing an emergency trip to the ER for life-saving treatment. There's one detail here that just doesn't sit right with common sense. Before he retired, the elder Mr. Qiao was a chief engineer on ocean-going vessels. He spent half his life at sea. Even if you consider the fact that he rarely stepped foot in a kitchen before he started making videos, he's still a veteran sailor. Is it really plausible that someone with that kind of maritime background would be completely clueless about basic seafood safety? Netizens everywhere are pointing out the obvious. Forget about dead ones, even a healthy young person would struggle to stomach 10 fresh crabs in one go. Now imagine eating 10 crabs that have been sitting dead for 3 days. It just doesn't add up. This isn't about being frugal anymore, it's straight up life-threatening. Honestly, it looks less like saving money and more like a deliberate act of self-harm. There are claims that the perpetrators behind the Qiao Renliang case and those involved with Yu Menglong are, in many instances, the exact same people. Lately, the Yu Menglong case has been exploding online, drawing an intense amount of public scrutiny. It makes you wonder, are these perpetrators trying to silence the witnesses? In the wake of what happened to Yu Menglong, many were forced to remember those haunting images of Qiao Renliang from 9 years ago, photos so gruesome they were almost impossible to look at. People are being reminded of the mysteries that were never truly laid to rest. After all, during his life, Qiao Renliang once stood on an award stage and openly admitted he had an enemy. He stated plainly that his opponent's greatest skill was the ability to twist the truth. He said he was ready to face them head-on at any time. He only asked that they didn't resort to dirty, underhanded tactics. And the message the elder Mr. Qiao posted on Weibo back then, "The heavens are unjust, this has gone too far," still cuts deep even to this day.
睽睽之下，于朦胧不擦，换了位置，全网炸锅了。
Regarding Yu Menglong's passing, the authorities officially ruled it an accidental fall after drinking. However, the public version points to a meticulously planned Hongmen banquet, a complete setup. It's blowing up online right now. On the night of Yu Menglong's passing, he attended a dinner party with 17 other guests. Among those on the guest list were actress Tian Hairong, screenwriter Xin Qi, and the well-known director Cheng Qing-song. Once this went public, the reactions from those on the list were quite telling. Most of them surfaced almost immediately, either to distance themselves from the situation or to issue some kind of statement. Only one person, screenwriter Xin Qi, completely vanished. Without a word, he set all his social media accounts to private. However, he didn't count on netizens being one step ahead. They had already archived his data and were ready to tear his identity apart. Netizens discovered that Xin Qi spent his childhood in Hubei. But in the year 2000, he suddenly transformed into a second-generation rich kid. The way his father struck it rich is quite intriguing. Despite not even finishing middle school, that year he somehow managed to oust a postgraduate candidate to become the general manager of Zubang Company. From that point on, Xin Qi began living the high life. In university, he joined clubs just to lounge around. Whenever he was in a bad mood, his family would immediately buy him a Land Rover just to cheer him up. In 2014, his aunt, Tian Hairong, brought him to Beijing, and his life became even more extravagant. Not only did his allowance skyrocket, but he also had a dedicated entourage just to keep him entertained. Later, he ventured into the mining industry in Taiyuan and Fenyang. Shanxi, after all, energy resources are the lifeblood of the economy. Rumors began to swirl that he might have complicated ties to several high-ranking families in the central government, with some even whispering about the Xi family. Of course, these are just rumors circulating online. There's no way for us to verify high-level secrets like these, but netizens have pointed out that his rise to power mirrors the typical trajectory of the political elite. These are people who hold everything in their hands, resources, energy, and apparently even the power over life and death. Back in 2020, when Xiaozhan was being targeted, Cheng Qing-song and his circle brought Xin Qi into the fold for that suppression campaign. At the time, they were flexing some serious muscle, showing such immense power that they weren't even intimidated by the Daiwan Zidi, the children of the military and government elite. Now that Yu Menglong is gone, Xin Qi hasn't just escaped investigation, he's being shielded with absolute silence. But isn't a silence like this in itself the ultimate answer?
睽睽之下，于朦胧不擦，换了位置，全网炸锅了。
In the entertainment industry, the arrogance of capital is everywhere you look. Take a look at another recent incident Liu Shishi's award being stolen. While this case didn't involve any loss of life, it laid bare the true face of the power brokers behind the scenes, people who operate with the mindset of, I'm a thug, who's gonna stop me? On December 6, iQIYI held its Scream Night award ceremony in Macau. One particular category, Most Popular Female Character of the Year, was supposed to be decided purely by fan votes, votes that were paid for with real money. At the end of last month, when the final rankings were announced, Liu Shishi was clearly in the top 3, with Yang Mi high up there as well. But what happened? As soon as the ceremony kicked off, the leaderboard on the big screen suddenly shifted. Liu Shishi was completely wiped from the list, and Yang Mi's ranking took a hit. In a move that made zero sense, the award was handed over to Bai Lu instead. The entire audience was left in shock. Netizens slammed it as daylight robbery. Fans had poured their money and votes into this, only for the power brokers behind the scenes to manipulate the data and give the award to whoever they pleased. The most infuriating part was the apology from iQIYI afterward, where they had the nerve to claim it was just a technical adjustment. It was such a pathetic excuse, a total insult to everyone's intelligence. Netizens were absolutely livid, pointing out that if an entire ceremony can suffer a technical adjustment, then swapping winners at the last minute has clearly become a standard trick in the Chinese entertainment industry. This kind of behavior is constantly chipping away at the award show's credibility, which was already hanging by a thread. So, what does all this teach us? In this industry, they're the ones holding the cards and they're the ones making the rules. They're the ones rigging the data. If you play by their rules, they'll throw you a few sweeteners to keep you happy. But if you step out of line or get in someone's way, the best case scenario is what happened to Liu Shishi having your award snatched away from you. You'll be subjected to humiliation, and in the worst case scenario, you might end up like Yu Menglong, where even your name is wiped from existence. It turns out Do Wei was right all along. Netizens recently dug up an old interview where he claimed that record labels might not be companies at all, but rather something more like intelligence agencies. Artists are essentially living inside someone else's design, and they might even face disasters that are entirely man-made. At the time, everyone thought she had lost her mind. But looking back now, it turns out she was the one who saw everything for what it really was. In the face of this invisible giant web, what can we as ordinary people even do? But then, I came across a story that truly touched my heart. A netizen recently bumped into an elderly couple, both nearly 80 years old, at a post office. Even though they could barely walk, they were there for one reason: to mail a letter to Beijing, demanding justice for Yu Menglong. It just goes to show that more and more people are waking up to this, regardless of gender or age. Everyone has a single goal. Don't let the perpetrator commit such a crime and just walk away as if nothing happened. We need to turn them into social pariahs, like rats scurrying across the street with nowhere left to hide. Why do we have to be so persistent? Because Yu Menglong truly deserved better than an end like this. I recently watched a vlog he recorded back during the 2021 Labor Day holiday, and it honestly left me overwhelmed with 1,000 different emotions. Back then, he had gone back to his hometown in Urumqi. In the video, he looked just like a kid who refused to grow up. He talked about how, in his memories, Urumqi was always blanketed in white, and he could still smell the crisp, fresh scent of the pine forests in the snow-capped mountains. He said that if he hadn't become an actor, he probably would have just stayed home and become a photographer dedicated to capturing the beauty of Xinjiang. Holding a cow baozi, he had the biggest smile on his face, talking about how amazing it smelled. He even stood in front of the movie theater he used to frequent during his school days, reminiscing about the times his mom would take him to see films when he was little.
Hello, 我是 Yu Menglong， 我回乌鲁木齐了。大家都知道我们新疆的日照时间非常的长，快来跟我一起感受阳光下的天山吧。
He shared how, sitting there staring at the big screen, he would often daydream about whether he'd one day be the person up there in the frame. In that moment, Surrounded by the play of light and shadow, he felt as if he had truly drifted back to his school days when life was still completely carefree. Back then, he never could have imagined that the world on screen he so longed for wouldn't just be filled with flowers and applause, but would instead lead him into a bottomless, pitch-black abyss. Yu Menglong's account might have been reduced to a string of random code, but the smile he left in our memories will never be scrambled. Qiao Renliang's father is now lying weak in a hospital bed, but our search for the truth cannot lie down with him. When capital can manipulate data at will, when those in power can snuff out a life with total impunity, and when a person who once lived so vibrantly is reduced to a sensitive word that's forbidden to even be mentioned, the only thing we can do is refuse to forget. If you also feel that the world shouldn't be this way, please like and share this video. Let more people see the Yu Menglong who loved eating toasted buns and going to the movies. Let those big players hiding in the dark corners know that justice might be delayed, but it will never be denied. Ultimately, Yu Menglong is more than just a string of random code or a statistic in an obituary. He was a young man with big dreams. They might be able to wipe his account, and power might be able to silence the noise, but they can never erase our memories. We aren't speaking out to cause trouble. We're here to make sure that justice isn't completely strangled by the hands of capital. Don't let this story just fade away. Because the truth only wins when we refuse to forget. Keep a close eye on this case. Stay safe and stay vigilant. If you're still watching this, maybe you're looking for the same thing I am.